This is your tarot forecast for January 2024. So I'm going to look at the overall energy of the month ahead, the challenges that we may face this month, and the gifts that are available to us. Keep in mind, this is general reading for lots of people. So take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you're interested in a personal reading, you can find the link in my description box. I offer tarot, astrology, and Akashic Records readings. And I'm also hosting a new moon circle on the new moon in Capricorn. My puppy is playing, so sorry for the noise. It may persist, it may end in a moment. We'll see. Okay, let's do it. So our overall energy this coming month is the 10 of Cups and the Ace of Cups reversed. So there's this sense that community, connection, and emotional fulfillment is on our mind this month. It might mean we're kind of looking ahead at this year and our life in the more distant future and considering what is truly going to bring us fulfillment. With the Ace of Cups reversed, it might be that we're letting go of a connection or a way of connecting, like a relational pattern that's kind of not true to us anymore. Could also be that we are going into the new year kind of feeling a little bit starved for self-love, and that our communities, our friendships, our people can help us restore a sense of self-love and compassion by kind of modeling that to us and by showing us love, and that we can do the same for the people around us. So hold your people. If you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling any of these things, which are super common around a new year, then reach out to people. Don't isolate. It's been a big message that's been coming through consistently, is a need for us to not isolate. And like, that's true all the time. We need community as humans, but especially this time of year, again, can be hard, as we know. So reach out, reach out. Our challenge this month is strength and the Knight of Wands reversed. So 2 Leo cards, and I'll mention that the 10 of Cups is a Pisces card. The Ace of Cups is connected to all the water signs, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, all the signs we have here: Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Leo, Capricorn, and Aquarius. And so we have a Leo full moon this month, and it could be that around the Leo full moon, especially in like the 3 days before, 3 days after, that our emotions are running high. A Leo full moon can do that. Leo is very expressive. It can be a little bit like grandiose at times, and it can be really beautiful and generous and buoyant and joyful and silly. And so notice the ways that kind of both are at play. Notice the ways that maybe you really fall deep into the subjectivity of your emotions and might like see the world through your emotional response in a more sort of reactive way. And then because this full moon happens in the context of Aquarius season, and because earlier in January is Cap season, 2 signs that are Saturn ruled and can be generally more objective, can kind of back away. Some people might consider it like emotional bypassing, but Capricorn and Aquarius in their more kind of like light form often can do a really good job of approaching emotions more objectively and kind of backing away and seeing the context for something as opposed to getting super wrapped up in their feels. And so while on the surface, Aquarius and Cap people can appear very stoic, and people often think that they're like emotionless or cold or aloof, and that can be true, not the emotionless part, but the cold and aloof parts can be true. What's also true is that often there's a lot going on beneath the surface for Cap and Aquarius people. And if you were to drill down into it, you'd be like, oh shit. But because they are Saturn ruled, and because they're farther along in the zodiac and have sort of developed a level of maturity, they have that ability to be a little bit more objective. And so it could be that you're trying to work on balancing that within yourself. Leo rules the heart. Leo is very heart-centered, again, buoyant, expressive. Often Leo is typecast or stereotyped as like dramatic, and that can be true. But also there's a truth and an authenticity to Leo because of that heart-centered nature. Because Leo can be so attuned to the heart, Leo often is really great at expressing itself in a very authentic way and sort of like letting it rip, for lack of a better term. And so with the combo of strength and the Knight of Wands reversed, it feels like we might be led into kind of like stormy seas by our emotions this month, and we might move recklessly and reactively. And so again, it's going to be important for you to kind of come back to the context, come back to objectivity as best you can, especially if you're feeling super keyed up. Be like, let me take a second and back up here and consider the larger context of what's happening around me in my community, in this relationship, in like the world, and to start there. And that could be a really practical way of kind of grounding yourself through bigger emotions. Our gifts this coming month are the Queen of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. So we have a Cap card and an Aquarius card. And again, we start off 2024 in Cap season and we end January in Aquarius season. And so there's this combination here, as these coming through as our gifts, there's this combination of us focusing on the practical and the material. And this is common in January. A lot of people are like setting goals, looking ahead at like practical things that they need to do. A lot of people are getting back to work after a holiday. And so the Queen of Pentacles can be that kind of focus. Maybe it's like work, maybe it's the home, these things that need to be kind of like brought into order. Maybe it's our body, our health. And all of that is going to be very grounding to focus on. And it feels like attuning to the material can really serve us all in both personal and sort of like collective ways. So thinking about also what sort of practical impact are you having in your community, since our overall energy is the Ten of Cups. What type of material actions are you taking to show up in community in integrity? Especially relevant because we have ongoing genocides that are unfolding, especially relevant because a lot of us can be boycotting and taking these really practical actions to serve our community at large. And so think about the very practical ways that you can show up both for yourself and for humanity at large. No big deal. The Seven of Swords as a gift is interesting because what I mentioned about the sort of Aquarian and Cap like detachment, the Seven of Swords being an Aquarius card, this is often a card that has to do with denial or deception or avoidance. It's often something that we're running away from and sort of like pulling the wool over someone's eyes or even our own eyes. With this coming up as a gift, it feels like that's something that we are confronting. So maybe it means that we are seeing clearly the ways that we've been lying to ourselves or the ways that we've been running away from an issue that's been sort of chasing us down, the ways that we've been avoiding important conversations or things that we just like put on the back burner and we're like, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this next month, I'll do this next year. So it could really be us like buckling down and facing that stuff. Or it could be that we're really shifting our mindset on something that has really triggered us and troubled us. And so again, it's coming into clarity and sort of moving out of that emotional subjectivity and coming into the context of it all. And I keep saying that, context. It feels super important. And so I want to end on just an overall theme to take with you, since this was a lot. I rolled the astro dice and I got Aries, the moon, and the 8th house. And so there is this sense of introspection. Aries is not typically a very objective sign, and especially Aries moon can be very reactive and impulsive and sort of driven by instinct and very fast. The 8th house is a place of mystery. It's the occult realm. It's the other side. Literally, we find like our ancestors and the dead can be in the 8th house, and it's themes around death that come up in the 8th house, our connection with spirits and with the other side. And so all of that could be quite relevant for us this month. We could be doing a lot of investigation into our emotional patterns and the ways that those have sort of come from, like, I'm gonna get like a little metaphysical here, but even the ways that our emotional reactivity are coming from a survival instinct that comes from a fear of death. And so maybe topics around death could be significant this month. Maybe thinking about death and thinking about the ways that we might respond from a place of sort of animalistic fear when something is not super proportionate to the situation. So it's not overreacting. It's like we're noticing the ways that our survival instincts might be in overdrive and causing us to experience more fear and anxiety. And then when we can be with that and when we can contextualize it, we can find some degree of ease. That's all I got. I hope that is helpful, and I'm wishing you a happy new year if you are celebrating.